What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we got for you 5 exercise pairings for contrast training. So we've posted a decent amount of videos on this, stemming back all the way to when I first started the channel back in 2020. But we're giving you 5 exercise pairings for the lower body, things that we like to do. If you don't know much about contrast training, we've got a bunch of videos explaining it. Essentially, it's hitting a strength movement, heavy strength, followed by a more explosive movement of the same musculature, of the same movement pattern. So check those videos out if you want more detail. But like I said, 5 exercise pairings we love. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. We post new videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays, so make sure you're subscribed to catch all of them. Hope you enjoy it. All right, so number 1, typically when it comes to contrast training or complex training, they're super similar. You want a rest period in between for the post-activation potentiation. But with this first exercise, we're kind of not doing that. So we're not really getting the formal rest period that you typically do want. What this is we're gonna either do it with a trap bar or just dumbbells. We'll show you both. But we're gonna be here, we're gonna be holding that trap bar, we're gonna get into a squat. You can do 1, 2, 3, depends how many reps you want to do, the weights you're going. But like I said, you do want this movement to be kind of heavy. So I wouldn't recommend going more than like 4 reps. So we'll hit squats. Out of that, you're gonna drop the trap bar, get into a broad jump, get into a box jump. So we hit strength and then explosive. We can also do this holding dumbbells. Instead of doing a squat, we could do like dumbbell squat jumps, for example, or you could still do a squat. But essentially it's hitting that strength movement, that heavier strength, and then getting out into really quick explosive movements. So this one's a really good one. It's really fun. It's good for us because we have a trap bar that kind of allows for it. Some trap bars makes it kind of hard to get straight out into a jump, hence the dumbbell variation. One quick thing I actually wanted to add is with our exercises, you see us doing reps with it. So as I mentioned at the start, right, you want it to be a little bit heavy. You don't really want to be able to do a lot of these because you want it to be heavy enough to stimulate post-activation potentiation. But another great way to do that is using isometrics. So just because we're not really doing that right here for this video doesn't mean we don't, nor does it mean we haven't. So that is another option that you can throw in there as well for that heavier strength movement, doing some isometrics. Number 2, we're going a resisted sprint into either an unresisted sprint or bounds. So we'll talk about the resisted sprint to start. I love doing resisted sprints, but only to a certain extent. So I think they're super awesome practicing driving force into the ground, overcoming that external load, trying to hold you back. However, at a certain point, if you train slow, you're gonna be slow. So I think when we go too much of this, we're starting to train a different movement than actual sprinting fast, right? So we're trying really hard and we actually get really slow as we're holding or as we're being held back. We're getting slow. A lot of times too, we see form breaks. So like I said, I do like doing these. We just have to be really careful with them. Some people way overdo it. Some people pull really hard. Some people just think that if I go resisted sprint, it's gonna make me faster. It's way more complex than that. Do not be fooled. So for this exercise, we're doing a resisted sprint, just adding a little bit of load. And then we can either get into a full-on real sprint, just go like 10, 15 yards, whatever it is, max sprint, or we can do alternating bounds. I love alternating bounds. I think they're a great way to work on speed and power, getting your legs out, driving force back into the ground, being able to break hip height, good mechanics, that vertical force, which is really important as we know for top speed. So 2 variations there. Number 3, we're going more in the frontal plane. So we have a lateral sled drive to some quick agility shuffles into a sprint. So for the lateral sled drive, we get our attachment, right? We're going a big step over. Off of this, we really drive off, utilizing that lateral hip, the glute a lot. So we're working this frontal plane. And then after that, we get into some quick 45-degree movements into a sprint. So you saw us do this with our soccer girls a couple weeks back, really working on changing directions fast. And then out of that final step, crossover, turn, and sprint. So this is a movement we really need to reiterate with athletes right? Being able to go 45 and then turn and sprint as fast as they can. So this is a great contrast option for those types of movements you'll see out playing sports. All right, number 4, possibly one of my favorite exercise pairings of all time, rear foot elevated split squat with a hurdle jump. So I love this one because it's more unilateral. If you don't have a hurdle jump, then you can just do like a skip, like power skips, skips for height, anything like that. And when we're doing hurdles, we're going like a running hurdle where we jump off one leg, just to tie into that unilateral. So rear foot elevated split squats, one of my favorite exercises of all time. They're so versatile, and I think they're so fantastic for building strength, power, just for athletic development. So I love that one to begin with. And then incorporating a hurdle, like I said, ties into that unilateral element. And also we get that run in there. You get to train that gazelle-like springiness. So that's one thing we really try to get with our athletes and with everyone we train here, is just that elastic like spring. When you watch a kangaroo, when you watch a gazelle, it just looks effortless, like the ground's a trampoline. So I love hurdle jumps because that really reiterates that pattern, and it helps people kind of get that feel of being really springy and just reactive off the ground. So like I said, this is one of my favorite pairings of all time. All right, number 5, we had to get a little bit more hip dominant exercises in there. So we're going a single leg barbell hip thrust with a rear foot elevated split squat jump. That was a lot of words. So I love this exercise pairing. I love a single leg barbell hip thrust. Bilateral is great as well, but doing single leg, I just feel it so much. You don't have to use as much of a load either. So I love that to target the posterior chain. It's so important. And then for the exercise selection for the explosive power exercise, you don't have to do the rear foot jump that we're doing. I just like to target something that really hits home with the glutes, the posterior chain. Pretty much any type of speed, power, like plyo exercise, it's gonna really incorporate the glutes. So that's the beauty of this type of stuff, is the options are pretty much endless. But when I do the rear foot split squat jumps, I just really myself feel it in my glutes. Having to produce the power and the stability, it's unilateral. So that's why we chose it. But you got many options. So these are some of the ones we love to use. Hopefully you guys like this. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, comment what you want to see in the future, and we will catch you guys in the next one.